Getting started back on the Galaxie, I was cleaning up the fender mounting hardware and I ran a die on that. Bead blasted. These are the top fender washers, so I'm going to bead blast anything that I got to reuse and paint it low gloss black. So I think I'm going to get some paint on these so I can start bolting up the fenders. This fender, the right fender, is bolted on and adjusted. You can see the bolts here, and here. This one I can't find the rubber grommet right now. It's around somewhere, rubber grommet for these two bolts. I'm going to start working on that fender here shortly, but you can see, you know, the bumper, and I'm sure it's somewhere around here. I got a pile on the bench there. I got a pile on the bench there. I got a pile in the basement, a box even there, and a box of stuff in the attic, and stuff in the car here. So I'll dig around, you know, eventually I'll come across it. I got some more of the trim out. I set this trim just sitting on there just to make sure that, you know, everything clears and adjusts good here, so you can kind of see the adjustment, or the gap there looks good. It looks good viewing it down the side of the car. The hood, when it is closed, it has a good gap down the here. I put in some of the stuff for the headlights, but this is all, you know, I can't tighten this up. That bolt's just finger tight because this panel, which I got to paint silver, kind of goes on here. So this will go into there, so that bolt and that bolt and then that bolt, and then two in the center of the core support there hold, you know, it's bolts there. So this one here, and that one there, and then the headlight buckets, which I'm going to put the headlights in, clean all this out and put the headlights back in the assembly so that I can put these in. So there's a screw there, a screw, I had them all lined up there, screw hole right there, one up to the top there, and one right there, and that assembly will go in, but I'm going to put the headlight assemblies back in there before I mount that into the car, and I want to get this stripped and painted ASAP, and I'm going to do that cowl for up there too. That piece up there is going to be green, this one's going to be silver like it originally was. You can see this is the original silver paint that was originally on this, and you can still see a lot of it there too. They just painted green over it, but the factory original on this was silver. So that's what it's going to go back to. And I got new reproduction headlights for the car, so I'll put them in when I'm not even going to bother putting these in place until I get this painted and bolted on and the headlights assemblies back in here. So I'm just slowly plugging away at it, but like I say, I got the fender on and lined up, and it looks pretty darn good. The door doesn't catch anything, so it all pretty happy with it. Like I say, this molding, I'm just going to set it off so I don't. Yeah, and I got the trim out so I can put new rubber on it, put the glass in the other door. I want to buff this trim out first. These are for the rear quarter panels here. That's, whoops, the fasteners. I don't want to drop them down in the car. These are the fasteners. And so that'll go on there, and then the other trim that goes around this part is right in here too. So I was using my bead blast cabinet to bead blast. I bead blasted all these mounting bolts, and then in here, just those are all brand new. no light, but the bolts, I put the brand new this stuff in. So these are the bolts I installed, and these are the clips I installed. So the inner fender, bash and stuff, this is all 100% bolted up solid. I'm going to set this up here so I don't knock it silly again. And put these screws back with that trim so they don't get mixed up. And as I find the bits and pieces like those rubber bits, I'll put them on. And I'm probably before I trim the car all up, I'm gonna buff it. And I might wait on buffing the door because the only piece of trim that goes on it is this up here, and I can buff this. But I want that to dry 30 days before I buff it in the trunk lid. But I think this will be dry enough to where I can buff the quarters, all the front, other door. You know, where the mirror goes on the other door, it needs a little buffing there. And then I can start putting straightening the trim, painting what needs to be painted on the trim. Some of the trim has trim black on it, so I can get that on, you know, the paint fixed up and painted, and maybe get this thing done to where it's drivable on the road. My blast cabinet stopped working, and this is the culprit. So this goes here, and then this is threaded in there, and then it blows air out this nozzle to create a siphon to pull a glass beads up through that hole down in there where this hose goes and spray it out here. And at first it wasn't working well. I found a split in the hose down there, so I cut a 1/2 inch off the hose, and then it still wasn't working, and I found this. I'm not going to anywhere where they sell parts, so I'm going to just try and braze it up with the acetylene torch, and hopefully that, if I ruin it, I ruin it. You know, I mean, it's ruined now, but you know, the sand or the glass beads come up in there and erode that, so I'm going to have to put something on it that, you know, will withstand the abrasive, and I think the braze will somewhat. So I'm going to try and braze it. Yeah, it's been decades since I actually brazed something. I use the torches mainly just when I need to heat things, but this thing needed brazing up. It's brass. And it melted a big area out in here when I started heating it. That was like paper thin. So I just filled it all full of braze and then re-drilled it. Kind of ground it off. That'll work. I'll try and find a new one. But until then, this is going to work. I mean, this is kind of, you know, this kind of stuff holds up. I probably won't get that fender done today because I was blasting the bolts and washers and everything that go here, so I could paint them lightly so I wouldn't, you know, so they wouldn't rust. But, you know, because of this, you know, I had to horse around and figure out what was wrong with it. It first stopped, and that was the issue. So I cut the hose, and it worked for maybe another 10 or 15 minutes. And I thought, well, what the heck, you know, and after I screwed around with it for probably 20 minutes or so, I finally took the gun apart and found this worn through. So that is, I've been using the heck out of it. So yeah, these are normal wear items, and that porcelain nozzle is a normal wear item. This thing here, you know, I replace these occasionally. But anyway, that's the air part. That's the part that draws up the glass beads. So I'm going to put it back together and hope it works. All right, let's see. It works now. All right. So now I can clean up my parts. All right, this is, these are the little clips that go up here. Notice how long they are. They're much longer than the, okay, I'll set one kind of All right, these are for the inner fender clips, and you can kind of just see quite a difference in length. So I bead blasted the original ones and painted them, all hardware bolts, washers, everything. And while that's drying, I'm going to pop the fender off and put those clips all around the inner wheel well and stuff. So I'm going to get to that right now. Yeah, sorry, it's just too much to have the tripod and camera and try and struggle around with this stuff, but we'll put these, grab this and start putting these on. It's important they go on the right way around too. You know, if I put them that way, then I'm taking the fender back off. They go this way. And then I'm going to put the two long ones there while I have the fender off too. Okay, so that's all those. These ones here, I got to put the grill, and those actually had bolts with nuts, regular nuts. You can see this is one of the original ones. That's where one of the headlight doohickeys put in, but I'm going to put those on before those clips, I'm going to let them dry a few minutes, unstuff them on. And you can kind of see the way these ones go on because the bolts go down in from the top. So you got to have the threads. That's where those bolts will be. So I guess, and these are all on. So I guess the fender is ready to put back on, bolt up. Alright, I'm back started on fooling around with the Galaxie. I know this video is going to be about over a 5-day period because I've been really super busy trying to get things done and taking care of things and making some money and whatnot due to the, you know, the downturn in the economy from the pandemic. But probably the next month or so I'm not going to have as much time to work on the Galaxie as I'd like. But I got the fenders. These bolts around in here are on, but I didn't tighten them yet. And I got this gap pretty good. Fits up in here pretty good, but the door doesn't fit really well there. So I think that I'm going to readjust the door a little bit. It looks like it just needs to come up just maybe 1/8 of an inch and out maybe 1/8 of an inch. At the top, the bottom looks pretty good, but the bottom will, you know, as I do that, does need to go in a smidge there, and you can see how it needs to go up. So I'm gonna adjust the door until it fits a little better. You know, I didn't have the fender on when I put the door on, so I wasn't able to really line it up. That side, I had the fender sitting basically in place when I put the door on, so the door lined up pretty good. The other side actually looks really well. I'm really happy with it. But again, this video is over 5 days, so I don't know what I'm repeating myself or what I'm doing here, but yeah, that side looks really super nice. And it looks like, I just thought I saw a little ding. No, I thought I saw a dent there, but I guess not. Maybe I'm seeing things. But I think with a good buffing out before the trim goes on, it's going to really look good. And really happy with the way the car's come along, but tons of work to do. So I got this stuff to paint, the cylinders to change, this to change. Like I say, but just other things have come up and I just haven't had time to. I've worked on the Galaxie maybe 6 hours this whole week, and I got all the dash to contend with. And I'll go over why, you know, what's going on in the future. I'm not going to do it now, but I just got a lot going on right now. So anyway, I'm going to get to trying to adjust that door there. All right, I got the door and the fender and everything lined up the best it's gonna get. I'm not getting this piece. This is lined up. This is all lined up, but that is off just a tick. I don't know if it shows up, but it's not. It's spot on like the rest of the body panels on the car. I even tried with the porta power, you know, to try and push the fender around without, you know, damaging it. And after about an hour or two of horsing around with it, I'm going to call it good. So I think I'm going to start on, I got to strip this panel here and paint it so I can install it, so I can start putting the headlight assemblies and work on the grill and get that all that stuff back in. And I'm going to start stripping the paint on that cowl for there. And I looked into some bumpers. One of you guys suggested Bumper Boys, and yeah, I can get bumpers from them. They need my cores. They're in California. Shipping of these bumpers is horrifically expensive to go to California. They want $1,200 to $1,400. I think the rear bumper was $1,200 and the front one was $1,000, I think. So that's more than what I want to spend on a pair of bumpers. So I think I'm gonna work on, maybe in the next, when I get time, I'm gonna start working on straightening the rear bumpers, or the rear bumper I should say. I want to straighten it before I put it on the car, even if I don't have it re-chromed right away. But I don't know, I'm kind of thinking of making a little bit of money, and I'm definitely going to have the convertible top done this year. No two ways about it. But if I do get enough cash in hand, I'll have the chrome and the put white wall tires on it too. Get it all finished up yet this year. That's just kind of plugging away at it here. All right, I have not changed the oil in it since I rebuilt the engine, and I picked up some oil, some of the zinc stuff, and I still have one of these left from when I bought a couple of those in an estate sale. So I think today I'm gonna back it out. I'll get some videos for you guys of it out in the sun. I got smudgy handprints all over it. Maybe I'll clean them off, and then I'll let it run a little while. I'll change the oil in it, and I think it's time. You know, it won't be long, and I'll be able to drive this thing on the road once I get the, you know, the grill with the turn signals and the headlights and the bumpers on. There's no reason why I can't drive it. These tires are good. They're not white walls, but there's nothing wrong with them. And I don't need a top to drive it. I can put the boot on. I want to polish all this up and get the missing snaps and get that on, because that, oh, still some tape on it, because that needs to go on before the convertible top anyway. And might as well put it on, you know, and then I can maybe just stuff something in here so that I can put the boot on so it's not flopping around, maybe a card, you know, a long thin box or something. Looks good looking over the hood with everything lined up and assembled, and I'm gonna warm it up and back it out and get some video of it outside and then change the oil. Alright, well, let it warm up a minute. I'm gonna put it in neutral, and then I'll back it out. looking good. So I changed the oil, put that zinc stuff in it. Through the manual has the insurance and registration. I wired the license plate to the back frame. We'll take it for a ride around the block. How's that sound? See if we kicked out linkage and stuck it standing. Lower gears. Alright. The kickdown linkage was off the carburetor. So hopefully that's why it was staying in the lower gear. It would shift from low to second, but it wouldn't go from second to drive. Now it's shifting. See how it's shifting now? So it's just you have to get a new clip that holds it to the linkage to the carburetor.
You can talk to your fans in the rear view mirror, by the way.
Oh, you can see me, can
Yeah.
you? Hello, everybody. Out for a ride in the convertible with no front grille or bumper or lights or anything. Yeah, now it's shifting like it should. I got all the front suspension nuts loose, so I don't want to drive it too far. center is, and I'll definitely have to get an alignment. Why are you filming the trees?
Talk to your people right here. Like a mess.
Here, let me see that. There you go. Doors are sure rattly without the panels or anything on them, aren't they? No leather strips, nothing. Well, there we go. We went for a short ride. I put the leather stripping on, and the trunk, well, you can see the plate. I just kind of wired it on there. Yeah, the car is insured and registered. It is 100% road legal. And smell some of the paint on the engine. That's the first time I've really run the car ever, you know. I mean, I drove it around the block once, and that was it. But this kickdown linkage here that goes to the transmission clips to the carburetor, and that little clip where that holds it to the carburetor had popped off, and that linkage had fallen off. So it was like simulated like the car was floored all the time, because that was pushed back like as if you'd floor it. So that's why I was keeping it in the lower gears when we first went for a ride. It was shifting really late and hard. Usually that's like a bad vacuum modulator or that is stuck. But it was, like I say, the clip had come off the carburetor here, and that linkage was all the way back. So once it took me 2 seconds to put the thing back together properly. I think I had the clip inverted because it's got a narrower thing on one end where it goes through the slots, and I think I had it on inverted, and that's why it popped off. But if it comes off again, I'll just get a new clip. But yeah, it runs and drives good. The steering wheel's a little off center, so it will need an alignment, and I'm driving it around with all the control arm bushings loose, upper and lower. I didn't, you know, they're all loose because I want to get the car together so it's sitting at its proper height before I tighten them up, and then I'll take it in and have a front end alignment done on it. But I don't want to put new tires on it for front end alignment, so that tire is getting a little low on air, and so I probably should put some air in it. The rest of them look okay. Just this one's starting to look a little low. So anyway, but that's it. We went for a little ride, a little further than just around the block once. The last time, the one and only other time I drove it was didn't have any front fenders or hood. None of the body was done. The convertible top was still on it, and it would puff up and blow down in. And I just put the engine in and got it running and driving, and wanted to make sure the transmission worked the last time I had it on the road. So that helped, you know, get it out. The brakes, I think, were starting to get a little surface rust on them because it was getting hard to push it back and forth in the garage. I literally had to start the engine to back it up because, as you remember, I had it right up here. Well, I want to work on this, and sitting here with this here was kind of difficult, so I had to start it to back it up, and I thought, well, I'll change the oil in it, and then I decided to run it a little bit too. All my cardboard I store underneath the car. There's cardboard stored under the truck. I like having cardboard to lay around on and work under and stuff on the concrete, so it just gets laying all over the garage floor under cars and stuff, but doesn't appear to drip anything. I mean, the transmission hasn't been dripping anymore, and hopefully everything's all good with it. But that was a nice little jaunt around the block. I don't know, we might have put a mile or two on it. It's 934. I don't remember. I'd have to look at the past videos. 934 and 1/10. 76,934 and 1/10 is what the odometer states. I'd have to go back and look at past videos to see how far I drove it, but yeah, it runs sweet. Really super happy with it. It really, you step on it and it moves and gets up, moves, and is very responsive. Stops, when you come to stops, it idles super nice. Couldn't be happier with the way it runs. I'm going to wrap this video up. You know, I mean, it's kind of been a while since I put a video up. Like I say, I got a lot going on right now, and I just work on the Galaxie when I can, so it might be later next week before I can get to it. I want to strip the paint off in fact, I might just put paint stripper on the two today and wrap them in plastic, because it'll be Tuesday or Wednesday before I can get to the car again, and I want to get both these panels painted so I can get them on the car. That piece has to go on before I put all the headlight assemblies and grill and everything in, and then I can, maybe by the time I get all this stuff done and the convertible top frame painted, all the body paint, like this is the freshest paint on here in the trunk lid, all the body paint will have been dried for long enough to where I can lightly sand it and buff it, and then I can start, you know, working on the rest of the trim and putting the rest of the car together. But yeah, it was a perfect day. It's in the mid-70s and just a beautiful day. Perfect day for a ride in a convertible. So anyway, that's it for this video. I'm calling it a day. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see this old Galaxie, cool old Galaxie finished up and to where we can go do some cruising in it, subscribe to my channel by hitting that 348 engine. And thank you for watching.